Russia's economy appears stable. On the surface, things seem fine. Unemployment is low, wages are growing, but this is a facade, a carefully constructed illusion. Beneath the surface, a crisis brews. Russia's economic foundation is crumbling. The country is on the brink of a devastating collapse. The world is distracted by the war in Ukraine, but another war is being waged, a silent war against economic reality. Russia is losing this war. The consequences will be felt far beyond its borders. Russia boasts about its economic growth. They point to rising GDP figures, but this growth is artificial. It's fueled by unsustainable spending. The Kremlin is pouring money into the military. It's funding reconstruction efforts in occupied Ukraine. This spending creates the illusion of prosperity, but it's a short-term fix. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The flames may die down initially, but the fuel will eventually ignite, leading to an even bigger blaze. Russia's labor force is shrinking. The once bustling factories and offices are now facing a significant decline in manpower. This trend is alarming and has far-reaching consequences for the nation's economy. The war in Ukraine has taken its toll. The conflict has not only devastated the region but also drained resources and diverted attention from domestic issues. The impact is felt deeply within Russia as well. Young men are being sent to the front lines. Many will never return. The loss of these individuals is a tragedy for their families and a significant blow to the workforce. The absence of these young men is creating a void that is difficult to fill. Those who do come back are often physically or mentally scarred. The injuries they sustain, both visible and invisible, hinder their ability to reintegrate into civilian life. This further strains the already shrinking labor pool. They are unable to contribute to the economy. The loss of their potential productivity is a significant setback. The country faces the dual challenge of caring for these individuals while also dealing with the economic repercussions of their absence from the workforce. Emigration is also on the rise. Many Russians are choosing to leave the country in search of better opportunities abroad. This exodus includes not just the young and ambitious, but also experienced professionals. Skilled workers are fleeing the country. Engineers, IT professionals, and other highly trained individuals are among those seeking a better future elsewhere. Their departure is a significant loss for Russia's technological and industrial sectors. They are seeking a better future for themselves and their families. The promise of stability, safety, and prosperity in other countries is a powerful draw. This migration trend is reshaping the demographic landscape of Russia. This brain drain is depriving Russia of vital human capital. The loss of educated and skilled individuals is creating gaps in various sectors, from education to healthcare to technology. The long-term effects are profound and troubling. It's weakening the country's long-term economic prospects. The combination of a shrinking labor force, the loss of skilled workers, and the ongoing conflict is creating a perfect storm. The future of Russia's economy is uncertain, and the challenges ahead are immense. Inflation is soaring in Russia. The prices of basic goods are skyrocketing. This is putting a strain on household budgets. Ordinary Russians are struggling to make ends meet. The value of their savings is being eroded. To combat inflation, the central bank has raised interest rates, but this is having a negative impact on the economy. Businesses are finding it more expensive to borrow money. Investment is drying up. Economic activity is slowing. Section 5. A misplaced focus. The Kremlin is prioritizing military spending over everything else. It's pouring billions of dollars into weapons and soldiers. Meanwhile, vital sectors of the economy are being starved of investment: education, healthcare, infrastructure. This misplaced focus is unsustainable. It's like a farmer who only invests in his plow but neglects his fields. He might have the best tools, but without fertile land, he won't harvest anything. Russia needs a balanced approach to spending, one that prioritizes both guns and butter. Section 6. The oil crutch. In this section, we delve into the intricate relationship between Russia's economy and its oil and gas exports. This relationship is not just a matter of economic strategy, but a lifeline that sustains the nation's financial health. Russia's economy is heavily reliant on oil and gas exports. These natural resources are the backbone of the country's revenue stream, contributing significantly to its GDP. The vast oil fields and extensive pipeline networks are a testament to the scale of this dependency. These exports generate much-needed revenue, but they also make Russia vulnerable. The reliance on a single sector for economic stability is a double-edged sword. While it brings in substantial income, it also exposes the country to external risks and market fluctuations. The global energy market is volatile. Prices can fluctuate wildly. This volatility can be triggered by geopolitical tensions, changes in global demand, or technological advancements in energy production. For Russia, this means that its economic stability is often at the mercy of factors beyond its control. This creates uncertainty for the Russian economy. Investors and businesses face a precarious environment where the value of their assets can change dramatically overnight. This uncertainty can stifle economic growth and deter foreign investment. Moreover, Western sanctions are targeting Russia's energy sector. These sanctions are designed to limit Russia's ability to export oil and gas, thereby reducing its revenue. The sanctions are a response to geopolitical actions, particularly Russia's involvement in conflicts such as the one in Ukraine. The goal is to cripple Russia's ability to finance the war in Ukraine. By cutting off the financial lifeline provided by oil and gas exports, Western nations hope to pressure Russia into changing its policies and actions. These sanctions are having an impact, but Russia is finding ways to circumvent them. The country is employing various strategies to mitigate the effects, such as seeking new markets and forming alliances with non-Western countries. It's selling its oil and gas to other countries, often at discounted prices. By offering lower prices, Russia can attract buyers who are willing to overlook the sanctions. This strategy helps to maintain a flow of revenue, albeit reduced, and keeps the oil and gas sector operational. Section 7. A house of cards. Russia's economy is like a house of cards. It appears strong and formidable from a distance, but up close it's a delicate and precarious structure. It's built on a foundation of unsustainable practices. State spending is rampant, with vast amounts of money funneled into military expansion and maintaining a heavy reliance on oil exports. These pillars, while seemingly robust, are inherently unstable. These practices have created the illusion of stability, but the house of cards is starting to wobble. The cracks are beginning to show, and the once solid-looking structure is now teetering on the edge of collapse. The war in Ukraine is putting immense pressure on the Russian economy. The conflict has drained resources and diverted attention from domestic issues. Western sanctions are biting hard, cutting off vital economic lifelines and isolating Russia from the global financial system. The labor force is shrinking as young people leave the country in search of better opportunities. Inflation is soaring, making everyday goods increasingly unaffordable for the average citizen. Factories are closing and unemployment is rising, creating a sense of despair among the populace. The Kremlin is trying to hold everything together, but it's only a matter of time before the house of cards collapses. The leadership is scrambling to find solutions, but the underlying issues are too deep-rooted to be fixed with quick patches. The future of Russia's economy hangs in the balance, and the world watches with bated breath, wondering when the final card will fall. Section 8. A call for reform. Russia desperately needs economic reforms. It needs to diversify its economy, reduce its dependence on oil and gas exports. It needs to invest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. It needs to create a more favorable environment for businesses. These reforms will be difficult and painful. They will require a fundamental shift in thinking, but they are essential if Russia wants to avoid economic collapse. The longer the Kremlin waits, the more difficult it will be to implement these reforms. Section 9. A global concern. The crisis in Russia is not just a domestic issue, it has global implications. Russia is a major player in the global economy. It's a leading producer of oil and gas. It's a major exporter of commodities like wheat and fertilizer. An economic collapse in Russia would send shockwaves through the global economy. It would disrupt energy markets. It would lead to higher food prices. It would have a devastating impact on developing countries that rely on Russian imports. Section 10, the importance of awareness. The world needs to wake up to the crisis brewing in Russia. We can't afford to be complacent. We need to understand the gravity of the situation, and we need to start preparing for the consequences. This is not about taking sides in the war in Ukraine. It's about recognizing the economic realities. It's about understanding that a crisis in Russia will have a ripple effect across the globe. We need to be prepared. Section 11, the future of Russia. The future of Russia hangs in the balance. The country is at a crossroads. It can continue down the path of economic self-destruction, or it can choose a different path, a path of reform, diversification, and sustainable growth. The choice is Russia's to make, but the world is watching. The consequences of Russia's decision will be felt for generations to come. The time for action is now.